Hey everybody, it's 9 o'clock and 9 o'clock is with me, Father Warner. Today is the feast of St Mark the Evangelist, and our gospel text is taken from Mark chapter 16 verse 15 to 20. I've entitled this teaching, On Your Mark, Get Set, Go. Let me talk to you a little bit about St Mark. References to St Mark are found all through the New Testament. He is first encountered immediately after St. James has been martyred, if you read the 12th chapter of the Acts of the Apostles. So in the Acts of the Apostles, he is referred to as John Mark. Now, St. Luke, who is the author of the Acts of the Apostles, he's the author of the Gospel of Luke and the author of the Acts of the Apostles. St. Luke records this in context of Peter's release from the prison. On realizing that he was not dreaming about his release from prison, Peter went to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose other name was Mark. So Mark's home was a home of refuge for many, for we are told that, and this is scripture, we are told that in Mark's house, many had gathered there in prayer. The epistles of Saints Peter and Paul also make a reference to Mark, simply as his name being Mark. It is Mark who also wrote, as we know, the first gospel, and later on became the first bishop of Alexandria in Egypt. Now, from scripture, we know that St. Mark plays an important role in the church. He is made mention of in the travels of St. Paul and Barnabas, who were both close friends and associates of Paul. Now, after their mission in Antioch, and you can read Acts chapter 12, verse 25, we are told that Barnabas and Paul returned to Jerusalem with Mark. Mark, however, did not complete his travels with these apostles, eventually causing a significant fallout between Paul and Barnabas. And after some days, Paul says to Barnabas, "Come, let us return and visit the brethren in every city where we proclaimed the word of the Lord and see how they are." And we are told that Barnabas wanted to take with them John, who's also called Mark. But Paul thought best not to take with them one who had withdrawn from them in Pamphylia and had not gone with them to the work. And then we are told that there arose a sharp contention so that they separated from each other. Barnabas took Mark with him and sailed away to Cyprus, but Paul then chooses Silas and departed, being commended by the brethren to the grace of the Lord. You can read this in Acts chapter 13, verse 36 to 40. Now, one reason that Barnabas may have been more favorably disposed to Mark is that Mark was his cousin, and we learn this also from St. Paul's letters. So St. Barnabas and St. Mark were cousins. Now, we are told that Mark and Paul finally reconciled, and we read this in Colossians, where St. Paul writes, "Aristarchus, my fellow prisoner, greets you, and Mark, the cousin of Barnabas, concerning whom you have received instructions." He says, if he comes to you, now receive him. Read Colossians chapter 4, verse 10. So this shows Mark at a later point as a functioning member of the circle of Paul's companions, indicating that there was some kind of a reconciliation. Now, the reconciliation was apparently long-lasting, because he then mentions Mark again in 2 Timothy, written shortly before his death in AD 67, where Paul, once again, he says, "Luke alone is with me, get Mark and bring him with you, for he is very useful in serving me." 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 11. So Peter too also makes a reference, besides St. Paul, St. Peter makes a reference to Mark. At the end of 1 Peter, the apostle mentions him very briefly in the same passage, where he indicates that he is writing from Rome. He calls it Babylon, but he's writing from Rome. And he says, "She who is at Babylon," that is, she who is at Rome, "who is likewise chosen," that is the Church of Rome, "sends you greetings, and so does my son Mark." You will read that in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 13. Now, this indicates that Mark had become not only a valuable member of Paul's circle, but also someone personally close to Peter. So this you can see this very nicely. He had a great relationship in the early church. I thought I'd leave you with a few thoughts, a little understanding on St. Mark as we celebrate his feast today. Today I want to wish my dear friends Flori and Clement from Parel a very, very happy wedding anniversary. I was there for their silver wedding anniversary many years ago. But thank you for your love while I was there in the parish and for all your support. God bless you. To all our other viewers, thank you for your kindness. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and do leave a comment. I'll see you again. To our donors today, to the children of the Love, Joy, Hope Foundation, thank you.